Hey there, guys. I'm
Hey.
Steppy Steph, and this is Bobby, and we are Between Two Teeth.
That's right. What are we talking about today?
So today we're talking about articles that we kind of read either in the Harvard Business Review, Wall Street Journal, etc. And one of these that I picked out today was it was from the Wall Street Journal. It was talking about differences on boards between different generations.
Oh,
And I liked the article because I felt like it was super applicable to what we're kind of seeing in the workforce and dentistry right now. So what I mean by that, I'm going to jump in and we're going to talk about
yeah, jump in.
one side of the coin, which is baby boomers and Generation X, and then the other side of the coin, which is millennials and Gen Zers, or also known as Zoomers, if you guys have not heard that before.
I had never heard that term.
I have never heard it too, but we're starting to see it more in print, so I guess it's a
So
thing.
let's get down to it. What's the issue here?
So the issue is a little bit different in expectations. And so in this specific article, they were quoting that Generation X and baby boomers, they have an extreme work ethic. They value the job over work-life balance. And they're kind of get the job done mentality.
I'm going to ask you this question. Am I a Gen X?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I forget that.
Yes,
Okay.
there's a specific, the years you can look up specifically, I believe it's 1981 and forward is the millennial cutoff.
Gotcha.
1981, I believe.
And you're a millennial.
I'm right there in the middle
Okay.
of the millennials.
Gotcha.
So as we go forward, so that's the other thing. So versus a Gen Zer or a millennial, they're going to value work-life balance, especially after COVID. And because that's when our generations kind of entered the workforce, when we were getting stipends from the government and the world was shut down.
I am so tired of hearing about work-life balance.
And here's the rub. So in this article specifically, they were talking about how higher levels of management, business owners tended to be in the Gen X and baby boomers category. And they're having to work with hiring talent and employees
Your talent.
from the millennial and Gen Zers. And the difference is there's a cancel culture out there, and there's this concept of silent quitting, work your wage, where it's not about getting the job done, it's about doing what you feel.
Yeah.
And that's tough because
It's
there's a generational divide, so to speak. And so I wanted you to kind of comment. You're in the Gen Xers, and you're
Yeah.
also a business owner.
Yep.
So have you seen this at all?
Yes. Things have changed. And I mention I'm sick and tired of hearing about the work-life balance. And I say that a little bit tongue-in-cheek because I think one thing that your generation has done is raised the important topic of, should work be your life? No, it shouldn't be. We're talking 4-day work weeks. We're talking 10-month years that some people are doing to take time off. I think there were many great things about what my generation did, but we missed the boat on a lot of things.
And I appreciate that. And here's the thing, though. We have this mentality, and I think everyone's has a little bit of individuality here. I know plenty of Gen Zers and millennials who are crazy work ethic people. They are going to get Yes, they're going to get the job done despite. I think here it's just over a swath of people,
Right.
and on average, this is kind of defining the generations.
Yeah. I know some really hard workers in your group.
And likewise, and I know some people in your generation who value more of a work-life balance. Yeah. And then everything is relative to. The reason we're kind of discussing this is because it absolutely applies to dentistry. One of the things in this article they said is that when you value work-life balance, you are less likely to start your own company. And you see a lot of dentists that are Gen Zers and or millennials, professionals getting out, and they're not going to take those chances. They're not. Why swing for the fences at work when you can show up, do your job, and go home to your kids and go on vacations a couple times a year?
Your work should probably not be the most important thing in your life.
Right. And
I guess I should change that. Your work shouldn't be the most important thing in your life.
And I know we're going to have another episode where we discuss the value of relationships and success.
Don't give it away. That's like a secret that we're doing.
I don't think it's a secret. It's a topic.
Okay.
We're going to discuss it. That's the
Make sure
cool
you check
thing.
that one out.
Yeah. So as we look at this, I think you have to ask yourself, is what's going to bring you the most happiness there, and is that going to mean that increasing work ethic just so that we have more of a healthcare professional owned private practices? Is that what it comes down to? Or are we thinking more so along the lines that this new wave of Gen Zers and millennials have it right?
My oldest son, David, really helped me many, many years ago to help me put things in perspective, and sort of referenced, didn't use those words, but kind of referenced a work-life balance and how important that was. It's I think it's tricky if you get out of line. And once again, I think work-life balance is important. It's tricky to hear just because the topic is out there so much. Same with burnout. I got burned out just listening to burnout topics, but I think it's critical.
And I'm going to push back on you here from my perspective. When I've had the most success, and this is something Roger Levin, I think, talks about too.
Dr. Roger Levin, yes, one of the past guests.
I've been out of balance, actually. So when I've had success in athletics or I've had success in academics, I have not been well balanced. I'm not, when I'm having success in athletics, I'm not necessarily going to parties every weekend. I'm not chumming it up with all of these people and not really just kind of focusing. I'm the person on a Friday that I'm not going to these parties. And so some would say that's out of balance. I would agree. Yeah. But then when you look at it, when I've had kind of average success at academics, I am that person going to parties. I am that person throwing the parties sometimes, or maybe just engaging and interacting in more social events, study clubs, organizational things. So yeah, and I know we've had people on our show who have worked very hard to get where they're at. And I think they'd argue that in the times where they were breaking the most ground and driving the most is when they were way out of balance. So I say that, sorry, I know you're trying to get in. I say all that. Yeah. I know, I say all that to say that I think timing is everything. And I don't know if it's great. I don't know if it's great to have a group of millennials and Gen Zers so focused on a work-life balance concept that might be more appropriate for someone who is established in practice.
I think there's a time and a place for most things, and that's what gets into the timing reference. I think you've got to be careful on pendulum swings, way far over in this direction. Oh no, I like to use my hands.
It's okay. We have a small screen here, so we can't use our hands.
Anyway, okay, so this way too much towards life, this way too much towards work, somewhere vacillating around the middle-ish area, I think can be appropriate. I had a discussion with one of my kids that was upset because he couldn't get into Yale, and he had a friend that was getting into Yale. And because his grades were not 99 or whatever GPA they needed. And I just said, here's the deal, man. You're a balanced kid who's done great academically. You've been involved in athletics, doing crew. You've spent time with your brothers and your family. You've spent time with your friends. You're balanced out. You're really not out of balance in any one area. And I think that's a good way to have it. Yeah. I guess I'd push our listeners to figure out, are you out of balance? Many would say yes. Is that something you choose to stay there? Or do you need to pivot and redirect some things?
Sounds good. Wise words.
Oh, thanks.
If you like what we're talking about, hit the subscribe button.